Hi, Jody here from Healing Journey, and today I wanted to talk to you about estrogen dominance. So what estrogen dominance is, what some symptoms are, so how you could almost suspect estrogen dominance, and also how and what causes estrogen dominance. So let's begin by talking about what estrogen dominance is. In males, estrogen dominance is when the estrogen is higher than the testosterone. And in females, estrogen dominance is when estrogen is higher than progesterone. This is quite a common occurrence in both males, usually around middle-aged, as well as in females. So let's look at some of the symptoms of estrogen dominance. So in females, PMS is a symptom. If you have heavy periods, you may have estrogen dominance, fluid retention, bloating, breast tenderness, weight gain, headaches, brain fog, mood swings, depression, weepy and emotional, irritable, low libido. If you have problems sleeping, if you have sugar cravings, if you have histamine issues, that's another video. If you have fibrocystic breasts, if you have endometriosis, if you have thyroid problems, gallbladder problems, and blood sugar issues. And then also amongst males, it can be some of those symptoms, obviously not the female-related ones, as well as low testosterone symptoms like difficulty building muscle mass. Another sign might be that you have belly fat, and oftentimes aromatization is occurring, which is upregulating estrogen production. So, what are some of the reasons for high estrogens? So one, which is the really obvious one that might be an issue more so for people in the States, is estrogen supplementation. Obviously, that's going to drive up your estrogen. The other is that you're eating foods that are high in phytoestrogens. So those are naturally occurring estrogens in certain foods. So typically I recommend them to people who are low in estrogen because it helps to boost their estrogen production. But sometimes if you already have high estrogens and consume a lot of those foods, it can be problematic. The next thing is xenoestrogen exposure. So xenoestrogens are fake estrogens that are found in our environment. For example, plastics are high in xenoestrogens. So if you're using containers that have plastic for lunches or drinking out of plastic water bottles, for example, you're giving your body exposure to unnatural sources of estrogen, which is going to drive up your own estrogen levels. If you have low sex hormone binding globulin, you will also have high estrogen. If you have poor elimination, so one of the things I look at, for example, in the Dutch test that I do, is how your body is eliminating the estrogen. So you might not necessarily have high levels of estrogen, but maybe your body can't detoxify it properly. So I'm an example of that. I have actually pretty low levels of estrogen, but I have zero capability of detoxing estrogen. This is both from a genetic standpoint. So genetically, I have detox issues, as well as gut bugs can also impact your body's ability to detox estrogens as well. And so if you can't detox them, or you're detoxing them down the improper pathways, or you're not methylating the estrogen properly, it's going to build up in your body at certain times of the month and could cause estrogen dominant symptoms. Poor bile production as well is going to be an issue because bile helps with the elimination of estrogen out of the body. A low fiber diet, same idea. Fiber will bind to estrogen and escort it out, which is why I often recommend that people with high estrogen eat things like freshly ground flaxseed, which is going to help to bind to that estrogen and get it out of the body. Gut dysbiosis. So there's lots of ways that the gut can interact with estrogen clearance. Obviously gut dysbiosis, having unwanted gas living in your gut, causes a whole host of issues as well. Stress is another one. Inflammation in your body in general, a poor diet, aromatase upregulation, If you're overweight, which is again going to affect aromatization. If you have nutrient deficiencies, and heavy metal toxicity is another one. So heavy metals can impact your hormone clearance. Sometimes they can block the liver up from properly clearing hormones like estrogen. The other thing that we tend to see with high levels of estrogen is copper toxicity. So that's going to be a whole other video as well. But with copper toxicity, with high estrogens, there tends to be a lot of copper stored in the body, and that can create a whole host of other symptoms. So that's just a little bit more information about what estrogen dominance is and what some of the causes are. So when I'm treating estrogen dominance, obviously it's a whole picture. So I like to look at, what are heavy metals. I want to look at copper toxicity. I want to look at gut dysbiosis. And I also want to look at how the body is eliminating estrogens. So depending on what's going on there, I am going to supplement and have recommendations based on that. But in the comments below, I'm going to list some foods that you can consume that's going to help you to address estrogen dominance. If you have any questions or want more information, please feel free to write in the comments below or send me a message. Thanks for joining me today.